It would be a bit odd for Paul to condemn sex between men and not condemn sex between women if Paul were working within a paradigm of sexual orientation, since in a paradigm of sexual orientation, sex between men and sex between women fall under the same category of homosexual. But, as I've tried to explain in the past several videos I've done on this topic, Paul was not working with a paradigm of sexual orientation. Nobody in the ancient world was working with a paradigm of sexual orientation. A paradigm of sexual orientation did not even exist yet. The ancient world in general, and Paul in particular, are working with a paradigm of sexual role rather than orientation. And in a paradigm of sexual role, it is normative for a higher status person in a sexual encounter to adopt an active, penetrative role, and for a lower status person in a sexual encounter to adopt a passive, receptive role. And when that's the paradigm that you're working with, sex between men and sex between women are not categorized in the same way at all. In a paradigm of sexual role, sex between women isn't really sex at all because it doesn't involve an active, penetrative partner, at least as far as ancient men are concerned. In a paradigm of sexual role, sex between men can be just fine if there is some clearly defined way of working out who is the higher status and lower status partner, and this is usually done according to age, social class, and ethnicity. This is how Plato, for example, can go on and on about how great pederasty is in the Symposium, because there's a rather clear and rather gross disparity between the male participants in the sexual encounter, but then later in his work on the laws, he can condemn homoeroticism between free citizen males of relatively the same social status. The fact that all of the Bible's condemnations of homoeroticism are, 1, qualified, and 2, explicitly directed at men, is evidence of the fact that they're working with a paradigm of sexual role and not sexual orientation. This fundamental difference in paradigm is one of the reasons why it's so problematic to try to translate biblical sexual ethics to a contemporary period. And anybody who tries to translate biblical sexual ethics to a contemporary period and doesn't take account of this difference in paradigm is doing it very, very badly.